Mm. Nice bit of potential there in terms of both lockdown and maybe a little bit of damage as well for him. So not a bad pick for that Undying side. And I mean, you look across the board for them right now, this is something two base are going to have to be sort of concerned with. There is some form of stun, slow, anything really from just about everyone. So if it comes down to which team is going to be able to get more aggressive, maybe in the first maybe 15, 20-minute span, Undying can sort of come at you faster than I think two based are currently ready to deal with. So they may look for a little bit more in the way of sort of durability with their further core picks. The Bristleback certainly sort of fits that need.
And it still sort of shows nothing. The Bristleback and the Lashrak can still be laned anywhere. I think Flea and Jubei are more or less locked in at this point. But again, we've seen time and time again this Bristleback picked up, especially in the position it has been picked this game, where you see four heroes. While there is a very natural Spirit Vessel builder on the enemy team, Bristleback is one of the best heroes versus Tiny. You just initiate, you try to kill someone. If you don't burst them immediately, and the person that he's going to try to burst is probably the Leshrac in this game, then that Bristleback just keeps you locked down, keeps you stuck in there. And seeing the Beastmaster, you don't have to worry about a Centaur or some other mobility hero that's going to be able to save his teammates. It really feels like once they're in on the Undying side, they're not going to be mobile enough on the cores, at least as of yet, to get out. And with this pickup, you could move it around, so maybe Tomato ends up on this Gyro. We see Safe Lane Gyro picked up with Beastmaster a lot just because you do have that inner beast, you have that attack speed, but it feels like Bryle might get shifted to a hero that he doesn't like to play, because at this point, you have a few too many supports on your team, I think, if you're on the Undying side.
Yeah, somebody's got to move at this point. Not sure who it'll be just yet, but well, there's multiple candidates really in terms of, as you said, the Gyro to the carry spot, the Tiny or the Mirana could both end up being shifted mid. So Undying, I don't really know if this was intentional from them, but it's the situation that they've sort of been forced into now. So we'll see how they address it. But before we get into those sort of final picks, we do have phase 3 of the bans coming into play. Two based going to focus in on a couple of those carry options, both the Terrorblade and the Life Sealer being taken out of Tomato's hands, while Undying sort of splitting the bans a little bit there. Kunkka and Timbersaw taken away. So that takes us back to what you were saying earlier on, where the Lesh and the Bristle still haven't quite given away enough in terms of who's going where.
And they're definitely afraid of that rotation. They don't want anybody to end up where they don't want. We could definitely be seeing Boris end up on that Bristleback. We could definitely see them move around still, even though I still do think this is probably going to be a Monkey's Lashrac. But they are going to swap it around, so it looks like this is going to be a mid-flash. It's going to be an off-lane Bristleback, so a little bit less farm priority. But we get to see the Wraith King for the billionth time this tournament, as it's simply one of the most proven heroes. And at the same time, Undying have got to be a little bit scared. While the mid matchup will get a little bit easier for Bryle if he does want to end up taking that tiny mid, which does feel the most natural with their lineup, I think two-based are going to be pretty happy with their lanes.
Yeah, you don't really see too many sort of glaring weaknesses for them right now with what they've put together. So in the early stages of the game, they should be really good to go, unless Undying pull out something completely unexpected here. But at this point, we've really kind of seemingly narrowed it down in terms of those carry options. We don't see too much in the way of dramatic experimentation, really just this far into the patch. So Undying are just going to have to do the best that they can, but at this point, the best that they can is still going to be good. I mean, they haven't exactly lost this game, haven't even started it yet, but I don't think there's anything that's going to be that big sort of surprise factor for them. But what do we still have in the pool at this stage? The Faceless Void was already taken away. There are still options. Actually, I was going to say the Troll, but that feels actually kind of awful, all things considered. But
Yeah, and you don't want the Medusa, you don't necessarily want the Drow Ranger. You could fall back onto the Morphling, but versus AA, it's
yeah,
always a risk. Nothing really feels good for Tomato. They've been really spot on with their bans coming in from two-based. We could maybe see them reach all the way for the Naga, but okay, they're gonna go with the Anti-Mage. I was sort of hesitant with saying that hero just because versus Nyx Assassin, it's always a little bit scary because you are so into really not the stats. You always have to get that Battle Fury incredibly early. You have that guaranteed disable on the Anti-Mage whenever he does have that Battle Fury by just sitting inside the creep wave. So if Tomato gets the farm, we've seen him play this anti-mage before, if he gets the space, he is going to be able to sort of become that monster because there really isn't any disable on the 2-base side. But if 2-base could get a little bit of farm, get a little bit out of the lanes, we could definitely be seeing this Tomato anti-mage get pursued and prosecuted in his own jungle.
Yeah, this is... I understand the value of it, as you were sort of alluding to. He can do quite a bit if Tomato can sort of build himself up, but that is always sort of a double-edged sword. The anti-mage's strength is going to be there, but the vulnerabilities exist in equal measure. So if 2-base can get in onto him, that's going to be rough. Your AM is going to be sort of further pushed back, and the problem is that then puts even more pressure onto the likes of Bryle and Saberlight, who are on heroes that can make that sort of early impact. Tiny and Beastmaster are very much known for their ability to sort of make plays around that sort of maybe 15-20 minute sort of time frame, but it's going to be rough. If those two have to be relied upon almost exclusively just to sort of buy Tomato more time, then the window gets shifted, and you're still going to be going up against heroes like the Bristle, like the Wraith King, incredibly durable. So Tomato's farm is going to be absolutely paramount. They have to make sure that they keep him safe and really get him online as fast as they possibly can.
And we will see Tomato is really good at figuring out that key moment where he does eventually need to show up. And something we've seen with the Beastmaster, specifically played by Brax, is that they can definitely anchor down those lanes. They just envelop the off lane. Saberboy's going to spend most of his time top, make it the zone where 2-base don't want to rotate to. And that's where 2-base need to either have that Leshrac making the plays, being able to get these heroes sort of put down in the side lanes. Because if you can force the Beastmaster to TP reactively to come to your lane instead of coming to his, then you're going to feel a lot better on the 2-base side. And it's those forcing plays that are really going to sort of set this game up for them. But if Undying get a little bit too far ahead, Rao gets a little bit too fast of a blink dagger, Undying, I think they still are the better team. If they're able to eke out a win, Tomato just needs a few small victories, and I just feel like 2-base, they need to win so many fights, whereas Undying, they win 2-3 fights, Tomato's going to have almost a free timing, and then the game gets way harder for them.
All right. So, well, as you said, they're going to need to win quite a few fights here. We'll see if 2-base put together something maybe a little bit more up-tempo to try and get themselves in onto their opponents as quickly as possible. As we do see a bit of a group up here around that middle lane. 2-base just sort of hanging out at the moment. Not going to look for anything too serious just yet, but once those bounty runes spawn, you've got about 4 or 5 heroes sitting on this side of the river. They even drop down the ward, so they are waiting to see who comes. They want that first blood play, and Dubu, he looks like the primary target. They're not going to get onto him immediately, but now they will shift their focus in onto him. They hit him up with the Wraithfire Blast into the Cold Feet, into the Impale. That should be enough for the kill. Moonmander, I mean, he threw out an arrow there, but it didn't actually hit onto anything. So 2-base will be able to get first blood. Flea's the one who gets it. Dubu taken down, and a relatively simple play for 2-base, but it works out perfectly.
And you couldn't ask for a better hero to get it, to be honest, because now Flea is going to have that stick. He's going to have a little bit more mana to work with. The Gyro needs to spam out those spells to get something done, and it feels like now Tomato might be under a little bit more fire, especially the Nyx Assassin, always able to get those range creeps for Monkeys Forever, and you see he's starting with a Blightstone himself, so they're definitely going to try and, yeah, get aggressive, and Dubu, he walked up a little bit too far.
He's taking a fair bit of damage here. Can actually bring him down. Impale's not up for a few more seconds, but the Split Earth was coming back up, but Monkeys didn't want to dive that far. Tomato could have sort of gone in here for a little bit of return damage, so it's not going to result in a second kill, but Dubu is going to have to burn through a bit of that regen early on here. So, well, nice little play, and this is always the thing that we sort of watch for with that Leshrac lane. That sort of stun into stun is something that early on very few heroes are really fully prepared to deal with. So both Tomato and Dubu in this situation are going to have to be very cautious about their positioning. If they get hit by the first stun, the second one's coming in pretty rapidly.
And unfortunately, Flea, without boots, won't be able to stop the pull that Dubu was able to get going for himself. And Tomato not missing too many of those last hits, but the wave is going to start pushing into Monkeys. And you'll see Tomato be pretty hesitant to walk up to these waves. It's a little bit scary. It is that stun into stun where maybe you eke out a little bit more damage. You already see he is out of tangos. So they're both really waiting for Dubu's courier to get here. It's only a salve coming out, though, as he did start with that windlace. It is a little bit greedier than we have seen Dubu otherwise by his regen before, but he got the double. We actually got the pull through, so this is going to feel pretty decent for Tomato.
Yeah, that is pretty much going to fix that equilibrium problem for him. So it's back out to just about the middle of the lane, and that makes the AM feel that little bit more safe in this current situation, as Dubu and Flea, trading a little bit of damage, but neither one of them is really going to be able to do much of anything to the other, especially considering Flea hasn't put a second point into a skill yet. He's holding that, waiting to see exactly what he's going to need, or, I mean, I think more appropriately, what he could get away with in terms of the itemization. But in most situations, it feels like it's probably just better for the Spike Carapace here, unless they really do see an opportunity for a kill, which, well, for now is why he's holding it. Maybe if they can get that double stun onto Tomato, then the mana burn could do him a little bit better than anything else, as Dubu's going to get hit up by that Impale. Monkey's, he thought about it, but Split Earth is not actually going to be committed.
Yeah, and they don't want to expend too many resources. Monkeys is farming perfectly fine versus the anti-mage. Tomato is greeting out for that ring of health. It looks like he's going to make his courier go all the way to the secret shop. It's a little bit of a long walk, but it's actually mid. Yeah, Arrow.
Annihilate.
They got him with the Avatos.
Pushed onto the other side of the river there, just trying to, I think, steal some of those creeps in the jungle. But as you said, Avalanche Toss comes in. The arrow's there for Moonmeander to help it out, and a little bit too greedy there for the Bristle. Obviously, he didn't know that Moonmeander was sort of rotating, but by the time he figures it out, the play's already been made, and Undying are able to sort of tie us up at 1-1. That's a big kill for that Tiny as well. You were sort of mentioning for Bryle, he's going to want to get going as quickly as he possibly can. The earlier that Blink Dagger comes out, the better Undying could be prepared to try and either withstand aggression from TOOBASED or maybe even sort of turn it against their opponents with Tiny's rotations. So, big kill for the Tiny.
It's a really good call, because I Annihilate, he wants to play inside of Bryle's small camp. He wants to steal that farm if he can. We see Bristleback so commonly drag the waves, but yeah, bottom. Both of them.
Okay. Everybody's able to walk away. Tomato on a sliver of health, though. And Dubu will hit him up with that salve, so he is going to be able to heal up pretty rapidly. But that got a little scary. And Dubu, okay, he's still going to get hit up. Impale into Split Earth into Lightning Storm, but yeah, where's the rest of the damage here? Another Lightning Storm will come through. The right click was there as well, but Dubu's still not dead. Tomato, after healing up with that salve, pushes back in to try and defend his teammate, and I don't think TOOBASED can get this kill, especially with Flea now getting hit up by that homing missile. So, close calls really on 3 of those 4 heroes. Monkeys was the only one who didn't really take too much damage, but one of these days, that is going to turn into a breakthrough. You can only have them sort of nearly miss so many times before someone has to go down.
And with the 1-1 build-up now, Flea does need to be careful. He's got a few more resources on the gyro than he does, and he might just get walked down.
If, yeah, Tubu's willing to commit for it. He should be able to get in there with that. Actually, he doesn't have the mana for the Rocket Barrage, but it's not going to matter. Yeah. The right clicks will get it done. Nicely played by Dubu, just realizing his opponent was sticking around a little bit too long, and he is going to be able to win that support duel.
And just seeing the Carapace used, it's something that Flea does need to be cautious about showing. And it was a lot of mana used, but very simply, they just popped the salve onto Tomato, and top lane as well. Moonmeander's able to find these picks.
Getting in onto Jubei there, not a whole lot Boris could do. Doesn't even have the mana for the stun at this point, so even if he were in position, I think Moonmeander would have gone in for that anyway. So, TOOBASED may have gotten first blood, but it's a quick response from Undying. 3 straight kills here over the next sort of 5 minutes. After that fight in the river. So lanes are looking okay for them right now. They do still have maybe a concern in terms of trying to slow down this Bristles farm in the middle lane, but outside of that, I would say all of their own cores are sort of outpacing their direct counterparts.
And while Jubei is able to fill up Ino's bottom mid, we'll see where the 6-minute runes go. Moonmeander is in position, and actually, yeah, they're turning onto him. Moonmeander's just going to steal it.
Takes the Arcane Rune. Thought for a moment. Oh, wait, hold up. Yeah, Bryle. Happened there. He gets hit up by the Cold Feet proc. He is falling back to the tower. He does have some stick charges, and he's absolutely going to need them. As Dubu came in with that homing missile, Annihilate can't get the kill. Moonmeander, considering whether he wants to go back in. The arrow's back up, but at this point, I don't really know about this one. Annihilate's going to be tough to bring down. So Moon, he's simply going to take away that siege creep, hit him up with the arrow, so no real damage onto the tier 1 tower mid, and everybody just walks away from that one with their lives intact. Quite a bit of sort of skirmishing, but no true kill potential at that point.
Unfortunately, Annihilate, he might try to stack for himself now, or he might try to make a rotation. but there hasn't been that big rotation where Jubei heads down to that bottom dire triangle and
Lee.
oh yeah, bottom.
Might be in some trouble. Tomato, that was a nice play initially. He blinked over where Monkeys had had been placing the Split Earth initially, but Monkeys actually cancels out the stun. He was able to connect with it later on, so Tomato does still get locked down, and he will fall. Tomato's dead. Now Dubu maybe in some trouble as well. That homing missile will buy him some time, but with both Flea and Monkeys chasing him down, they might be able to catch him anyway. Speaking of catching heroes, though, up top, both Boris and Jubei taken down. Saberlight and Moon Meander getting help from Bryle as the Tiny rotated his way in, so Undying are able to pick up 2, but now back in the south side jungle, Dubu should finally be taken down. Monkeys and Flea are eventually able to catch up to him, and we are just sort of exploding outwards. I think we just doubled the kill count there in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, and you have to be incredibly careful when you do blink in like that. It is only level 1. His skill build feels a little bit strange, but he is trying to tank up with that second point and counter spell, but 100% gets punished for it. It's a 15-second cooldown. That spell is not good. And TPing all the way back down bottom, with this cart still alive, I think, yeah, Tomato's just going to have to farm all the way towards top, and this feels pretty terrible.
This is a pretty heads-up rotation, though, from TOOBASED, bringing Boris down here now that they have that cart. So they've got Monkeys here, they've got Boris for the follow-up damage, they've got a pretty sizable creep wave, so this could just be the tier 1 tower taken. There is a glyph, though, for Undying, and they're absolutely going to pop it. Yep, already coming out, but the glyph from TOOBASED popped as well to try and save that wave, and between that and the skeletons being summoned up, this could turn into a bit of a rough situation, but Moon Meander comes in for the comes in for the arrow. He takes down the siege creep, but now he's got to actually get out, and that's not going to work. The leap charges are not enough. Boris hits him up with a Wraithfire Blast, but Bryle, he wants it. Can he get it, though? Not quite. Flea's able to sort of step in there just close enough to break up that smoke, so Bryle is backing away. However, the rotation from Undying does save the tower. Tier 1 loses about half its HP, or a little bit less than that, but it is still standing, and all you really lose is the Mirana. So overall, that's not quite as costly a play as it could have been, but TOOBASED are still looking for this. They don't have the siege creep any longer, but with 4 heroes still down here, they may as well give it another shot, especially with that glyph still unavailable.
Yeah, and it feels like Tomato really should have made that rotation top sooner, but they are sort of fighting up with each other in the mid lane still. Annihilate is still anchoring it down, but it's Saberlight with the roar. They do scout him out, though, I think. They are pinging him just a little bit, but they're going to try to make the play onto the mid, which definitely makes sense. They want to try and get some counterplay going. Oh, wait, Boris bottom. He got arrowed.
Well, wait, he did? Yes, he did. He got arrowed up. Boris,
He's
okay.
dead.
No mana for the ult either. That's just not okay. His teammates were backing off. You know that there's an AM there who's going to be able to burn away that mana, but Boris didn't quite see it coming. He will be taken down, but Annihilate and Flea make their way mid. They're going to try and defend that tier 1 tower. The problem is, Monkeys comes from the wrong direction, pushing in from the north, so they sort of cut him off. Dubu and Bryle get in onto him with the Avalanche Toss into the Rocket Barrage, and that is going to be Monkeys taken down. That leaves the tier 1 now vulnerable again, and Undying will be able to get it. Now they want more. Bryle in with the Avalanche. Can he get the toss to follow it up on the Flea? Yes, he can. Homing Missile coming out as well. That's going to stun up the Nyx Assassin a second time, and he's just straight up dead. No way out with 4 heroes surrounding him.
And again, maybe they don't know about that tiny DD, as he does have that set, but it still feels like you're losing a lot of these key heroes. Monkeys was really having a pretty good game, but simply one word that they placed a very long time ago scouts him out, and Saberlight will simply return to the top lane. And that's where, who is the real hero to answer this Beastmaster? On the TOOBASED side, it feels like there really isn't anyone. Back when Necrobooks were still around, we saw that Beastmaster picked up so consistently versus the Nyx Assassin because it really feels like there's no way for him to get in. At the same time, it still feels like if he ever shows up with the boars already set up with a sentry, he's just going to go down, and Undying are taking a really large sum of the map while Bryle sort of eases into that blink time, and it's going to be around 12 minutes. It's incredibly fast.
Yeah, this is starting to get very favorable for Undying. They're really hitting every timing that they could possibly want right now, but TOOBASED are still looking for that objective. The problem is, yeah, TP comes in from Saberlight. Roar will be deployed. Monkeys locked down, but can actually get the kills. Bryle wants in with the Avalanche into the toss. It's a little bit of damage, but it's not quite enough, as we do see TOOBASED starting to fall back. Annihilate, though, he's actually pushing forward. He doesn't actually see them right now with the Moonlight Shadow, but they're also going to try for it. Jubei, though, missing with the Ice Blast. It was a good attempt, but Moon is able to leap away, turns around for the arrow, connecting on a Flea. Dubu, meanwhile, is going to throw the call down into the fight as well, while he looks to TP away, and they don't have any means of canceling it. So Dubu is out of the fight. Moon Meander's able to run away there with the leap charge as well. He is still holding on to one more, and yeah, he's going to have to use it. Annihilate was sort of trying to track him down, so they do pull back. However, TOOBASED get the target that they were originally going for. Monkeys pushes back in with the Edict to finish off that tier 1. So a hell of a lot going down in the middle lane, but at the end of the day, TOOBASED will claim the tower that they set out to get in the first place.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get the runestone underneath him.
Stunned up. Can they get the follow-up? Yep, Wraith Fire Blast is there. Tomato, though, able to blink away. But here comes the Ice Blast. Can they actually connect? No, Tomato will dodge it, but over in the middle lane, Bryle was able to find the kill onto Annihilate. So they set up on multiple sides of the map, and yeah, Monkeys, he's just going to get caught. Avalanche comes in, into the toss, into the homing missile, and Dubu with the Rocket Barrage will be able to find that kill. So they take down both the Bristle and the Leshrac, and Tomato was able to stay safe in that bottom lane. Bryle, is he going for more? Yes, he is. He wants in onto Jubei. He stops for the Couriers first, but it's not going to matter. He gets both of the Couriers and the kill. And now Boris, no. You do not want to be here.
Oh, he's going to get tossed onto the Beastmaster.
There it is. Does Saberlight have the ult? Yes, he does. The Roar is there. They're going to want to save it, though, for the second life. So trying to manage these resources as they get through the Reincarnation. Annihilate, though, is going to push over here, but the Roar is still deployed. The homing missile will come in as well, and I don't know if Boris can live, as they are just absolutely hammering away with that damage. Saberlight gets the kill. Dubu, I believe, is going to be sacrificed here on the back end, but at this point, his death is straight up not going to matter. They got everything they wanted out of that fight.
And it's so clean. He immediately splits off to the right, says, "Get off of my Beastmaster, you can take me instead." All of the core is incredibly happy on the Undying side, and with all of these rotations being successful, you look at Tomato in the top lane, and he's 300 away from his Battle Fury. And then once he has that, now you have this issue that Tomato is just going to be, again, lulling himself into a very safe position. We know he's that 1v9 player where he really can carry the game from nothing. Meanwhile, they're really struggling to leverage the power that Monkey's got in his lane. He really had a nice time versus that anti-mage, but every single time he tries to get that Edict up onto the tower, while tower has fallen every single time, he's also been trading his life in some pretty disadvantageous ways. And, oh, the smoke got scouted out by that Hawk. Yeah. Undying just know exactly what's going on at all times.
Not going to be able to get a whole lot out of this one. And now, as you were sort of mentioning, with that Battle Fury completed, who on the side of TOOBASED can match up to that farming rate? The Wraith King would be the sort of prime candidate, but he's got an armlet right now, which is pretty good for Boris. There's really no sort of faulting him for that, but armlet versus Battle Fury Anti-Mage is not exactly a fair fight. So Tomato, he's going to be accelerating even further. He's going to take this stack as soon as that Battle Fury is complete as well, and his teammates are looking for a kill onto Jubei. They hit him up with the Roar, and this is going to be about as easy a kill as you can possibly get. The Cold Feet will come out, but yeah, that's you might as well have just not gone for that in the first place. Jubei taken down. Dubu, though, is actually the one picking up a couple of these kills. It's not going to matter too much, but your Gyro sitting at a 3-3-3 stat line, so that's going to get him a little bit of extra money. That could actually pay off for him later on down the line. He's working towards the Veil right now, and if he can pick that one up, then the burst potential for Undying is going to be even more concerning.
And Spirit Vessel going to be built on, and Flea was able to finally make a play, but Bryle...
Bryle in there to try and break it up. Wild Axis actually don't hit onto Flea. Dubu, though, going to throw down the call down. That's going to slow up by Annihilate a little bit. Dubu should still be falling, but Undying, they got to wonder, do they really want to take this fight? Tomato's thinking about it. He wants in. He's going to go for Monkeys. That Mana Void did almost no damage, but they're still going to be able to find the kills. Bryle comes in for the Avalanche Toss combo. Monkeys and Flea both taken down. Tomato, meanwhile, was able to blink himself away as Annihilate was trying to track him down. So Mana Void, not exactly the sort of triumph they were hoping for, and overall, we do see the 2-for-2 trade technically favors TOOBASED, but they did end up losing a little bit more there, and now the fight's not done. Bryle goes in for the kill onto Jubei. Annihilate should be able to finish off Moon Meander in exchange. There we go. Quill sprays through the walls of the pit, but Bryle is just an absolute monstrosity right now. 9-0 on this Tiny. He is closing in on the Echo Saber as well, so he's going to have even more damage in the near future.
And you really see Annihilate trying to sort of be as effective as this Tiny is, but Bryle is just having an outstanding performance, and TOOBASED have to give away their positions a lot of the time, and while they are playing deep into their vision, they have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Bryle continues to find these picks, and if he can burst the Nyx Assassin in the AA, you lose so much damage coming out from the TOOBASED side, and with that mid Bristleback, it really is reliant on that 3-4-5 to keep these heroes at least a little bit controlled up. But we're not seeing that Yule Scepter build coming out from Monkeys. He's gone for the mech. He knows that he needs at least some way to survive versus this Tiny. But still, it feels like Undying are able to make these plays. And while Tomato did sort of mess up there, he wasn't able to get that Mana Void and make it the cleanest kill onto Monkeys. Bryle just continues to be there with the cleanup. And now with this Echo Saber, anyone dies. They're just going to get killed by the Tree Toss combo.
Annihilate making an attempt there into the south side jungle, but he knows he's not going to get the kill. He's just trying to force the anti-mage to move, and at least on that front, he will be successful. Meanwhile, up top, Saberlight goes for the roar. Flea hit him with the Vendetta, but doesn't actually get the stun in, and now there's Bryle with that avalanche toss. Flea dead, Monkey's gone as well. The Ice Blast is really too late, and I don't really think that was going to save anyone, even if it had connected earlier, but TOOBASED are really just struggling to keep their heroes safe right now. They don't want to sort of group up and farm as, you know, somewhere between 3 and 5 heroes, but when they split up like that, it's just too easy for Undying to get in for those picks.
And Undying are doing exactly what they need to do versus the Bristleback. They're straight up ignoring him. They don't really care about him at this point in time. They know that their timing is going to come a little bit later. Maybe once Moon gets this Yule Scepter, he'll have that guaranteed setup. But at the same time, you're playing 2 heroes really aggressively up onto Saberlight, and it felt like maybe if you got the Carapace off, you could have turned on him and got traded out, and still a 2-for-1, but at least it's something. But it's just the sentries down and Dubu continuing to have this vision advantage over TOOBASED, where you have these ward sentry combos down that are really scouting out everything Flea wants to do, and they're trying to do a smoke up. He has a blink dagger on Boris. Okay, this is good.
They
scouted out Saberlight.
Not going to be able to get himself away. No blink, no BKB, so he's just straight up caught. His boar tried to finish off that tier 2 tower, but it will survive with 92 HP. So, good play from TOOBASED. They will save their tower. They'll find themselves a valuable kill, and now they're going to smoke up again. Immediately looking to push for a second fight, and they're going to run right into Bryle and Dubu. Are they ready for this, though? Avalanche Toss coming in.
Carapace.
Monkeys, though, able to, well, heal himself up. Good Carapace from Flea, as you said. That's going to stun up the Tiny Ones to get the cold feet down onto him as well, and that's going to be Bryle dead.
Yeah, and Undying, they didn't want to switch up their game plan. They were playing towards their vision advantage, and now, immediately going into Roche, this is really quick and fast from TOOBASED. They know that the anti-mage still doesn't want to show up, and with the failure of Bryle going down there, it really feels like this is just going to be uncontested.
Yeah, there is no way Undying can get anyone over here in time. The gyro's the closest, and that's just Dubu's gyro, so they're not going to be able to stop it. Roshan will go down, Annihilate gets the Aegis, and perhaps this is a turning point. A point where simply TOOBASED can sort of pivot into a stronger push forward, try and take some more fights for themselves, but they still have to play around the Bristleback here. They can't really afford to get too far away from Annihilate, but right now he's just serving as a distraction mid, while Dubu is going to get jumped in on up top. Flea, though, he already used the Impale, so...
Yeah, okay. Tick down.
Yep. Ice Blast still gets him, so they can't cancel the TP, but they don't need to. Good kill onto Dubu. Meanwhile, Tomato... He's going for the split push play here, looking for that tier 2, or tier 1 tower, excuse me, in the top lane, but TP's coming in. Flea wants to defend it. Impale comes through, but I don't think they can really hold as... Oh my god. Saberlight.
Oh, wow, they're doing this.
Okay, they're going to throw him in. They're looking for the roar. The arrow will connect as well, and Flea, he is just straight up dead, but reinforcements are coming. Looking for vengeance now as opposed to assistance, as they're looking for some sort of return play. Moon Meander, stunned up by the Wraithfire Blast. He still has leap charges, though, so he's able to get himself into the river, and it looks like Undying just pretty much clear out. So they get the tier 1 tower bot, they manage to find that kill onto the Nyx Assassin, and everybody walks away safely. That is a big play from Undying, especially considering TOOBASED brought pretty much everyone they had left into that bottom lane, and they don't get the fight that they wanted.
And I like this play from Boris, but you're right, they need to keep this momentum. They need to allow Boris to keep getting these fights, getting these blink-ins, and that's the hero they were really lacking, and I don't think... Yeah, Flea wasn't building towards that blink dagger either, even though he does have a little bit of gold saved up. But Undying, they switch it up. They make the plays in the bottom lane. And Flea, he's going again. He needs to be so careful. He doesn't know if there's a sentry on the ground, but... Well, this is crazy, but it looks like it's going to work out.
Does anyone have a sentry here? I don't think so. No. Okay, they have no detection whatsoever, so...
Tower is still dying, though.
Yeah, Flea can't really do anything about this, so this play is not quite going to be what he wants, but... That's unfortunate. Jubei tries for the Ice Blast. It's not really going to connect on anything. At this point, Flea, it might just be time to leave. He's getting some nice information, but there's really nothing more he's going to be able to accomplish here. His teammates are starting to sort of make their way over, but by the time they arrive, the Vendetta's going to be out of time. So Flea does go in for the hit into the stun, but Bryle's a pretty tanky boy. But now here comes the Wraithfire Blast. Saberlight not going to help his teammate. He's actually just going to look for the TP home. So Bryle is really left to defend himself, and he's getting stun locked here. Split Earth comes in, Impale connects as well, and they've got him. So the persistence from Flea pays off. I was worried he might be sticking around a little bit too long, but he is able to keep that Bryle Tiny distracted just long enough for his reinforcements to arrive.
It's just incredible patience from Flea, And it's Boris really making it work with this Blink Dagger. He's queuing up an MKB now. Annihilate also just tracking down Moon Meander. He had to use all of his leaps before bottom, so not being able to escape nearly as easily as he would have wanted. And the only aching pain that you do have is that Tomato is working up that butterfly. He already has that Eagle song. You'll have this top wave all the way pushed in. And TOOBASED finding those opportunities where they are able to get objectives are really far and few between, but they have to be careful. As Saberlight gets caught top, this is going to feel pretty awful. You should just TP up soon, but 20 seconds.
Can they make it? Saberlight cutting his way through the tree line. Meanwhile, Dubu gonna reveal himself there. I think that's honestly the better tactical play. Oh,
it's so close.
It will be the better tactical play if Saberlight actually gets out, but he's got to continue waiting. Fleeto's going to spot him.
They see it out. Yep, they got him. They just got him.
There it is. Perfect. Saberlight stunned up. Boris blinks in. He's going to get down the damage. Wraithfire Blast coming through as well into the splitter stun, and Saberlight will be taken down. That Essence Ring will delay it, but can't actually stop it. So I liked that sacrifice from Dubu. If Saberlight had gotten out, it would have been fantastic. Instead, now it's just 2 kills for TOOBASED. So they saved the tower, although, damn, it took a lot of damage. About half of its HP gone. But half the HP on a tier 3 tower for 2 kills is going to be pretty impressive for the TOOBASED side as they continue trying to work their way back into this game.
And Boris, everything is working out for him. He's able to find these rotations. He's forcing out the Beastmaster from top to bottom, and they're finding these pickoffs pretty consistently, and this is exactly what they need to do. While you are allotting a lot of space to this anti-mage, and every time a hero does die on the Undying side, it is just space created. It does feel like now, with this MKB, these heroes are going to die just that little bit faster, and they do need to be cautious. And he has that MKB as soon as Tomato has that butterfly. So Boris has really kept speed up to this anti-mage.
Which is actually a little bit strange. Mentioning earlier on, it kind of seemed like Tomato, once he had that Battle Fury, was going to outpace that Wraith King. And to a certain extent, he is still doing so. He's a couple thousand gold ahead. But Boris's itemization is making that sort of difference in net worth a little bit less important. So the butterfly obviously going to be useful as Tomato jumps in onto Jubei, but if he runs directly into that Wraith King, life is going to be difficult for him, as I believe the Aegis just timed out. Tomato, though, still pushes forward. Goes in for the Mana Void. Monkeys Forever will be taken away, and if you're TOOBASED now, you have to fall back. However, Annihilate may not actually be getting out. Duba's going to try to hit him up here. That homing missile is still going to connect, and Bryle will push his way forward. Avalanche coming through. It only hits up onto Flea, though. But now the Roar, okay. Roar's going to lock him down. Mana being burned away as Tomato gets into the fight. Annihilate going to get slowed up here as well. Trying desperately to get himself away as what was that stun? Holy crap, Flea. That was a 4-man stun that he throws down there. Saberlight and Moonmander are going to get turned on and taken down. Bryle gets his TP canceled. Somebody tip that man. Where the hell are you? Flea, somebody tip Flea, for God's sake. That was a game-winning play with the Impale. The fight winning, excuse me.
So good. And Annihilate having the Arcane Rune, they baited out for so long, and it felt awful. You lost those 2 heroes top pretty much instantly as soon as Boris TP'd bottom. He showed his hand, but they're able to connect in the mid lane. Undying stay a little bit too long, and they 100% get punished. And now you had that split push play bottom, but you're just going to lose your mid T2, I think, for free.
Annihilate.
Wait, Dubu. Yeah.
Okay,
he can do this. He does not care.
He's just going to go all the way in. And yeah, Dubu realizing, I don't have a way out. Okay, well, that buys a little bit of time, but now here comes the Ice Blast. Dubu looking okay. Annihilate, though, is the one in some trouble. He's trying to get himself as far away from this as possible, but with the Bullwhip for the extra move speed, he is going to be able to outrun pretty much everybody, and Dubu does eventually tick down as the Ice Blast does get him. Wasn't a direct connection, but still applies that status, and Dubu will fall. Saberlight? Saberlight, what are you doing? Got to get stunned up. That's what he's doing. Cold Feet is going to stun him up. Split Earth comes through as well, and he's gone. That... Why? That...
Well, now it feels so weird because Bryle has his BKB, but he doesn't want to jump in. He knows that if any more fights go their way, really the pressure is starting to be put on the Undying side. These T2 towers are getting lower and lower, and as soon as they can make a break towards that high ground, Tomato's split push plays feel less and less impactful. And while both tier 3s in the side lanes are getting pretty low, it feels like really TOOBASED are sort of hand-fisting together a lot of little victories across the map.
Yeah. Net worth, experience, and even win probability now starting to tick down in their favor. So this is more than just sort of a little surge. This is just a full-on attempt from TOOBASED to take control of this game, and it's working pretty well. They got the tier 2 tower there with Annihilate as well, so Undying really starting to lose their grip on this one, and as much as Tomato is farming here, the rest of the team is really starting to lag behind. Bryle still has that sort of burst potential, but as we saw the last time around, he's a little bit hesitant to try and push his way in. And Saberlight, as this game goes on, he's turning more and more into the Roar and little else. His net worth is kind of tanking at the moment.
And with that anti-mage, usually Saberlight would be enveloping that offlane. He would just stay top. But time and time again, it started with that first Ice Blast and the Blink Dagger reveal on Boris. He's been sort of forced out of these side lanes where really only Tomato is able to be consistently good at it. And are they going to force his BKB bottom?
He has to use it. There's no way out.
Tomato's waiting.
I mean, Monkeys has the Aghanim shard, so he needed it.
Here.
But yeah. All right, BKB comes through. Tomato blinks in. Mana Void dropped, and Monkeys will fall. So they handle that quite nicely. The Tomato Illusions are actually continuing to get some damage onto the tier 3 as well. So that goes pretty well. They get Monkeys. They get everybody out safely. It does cost them a BKB charge, but a kill and some damage onto the tier 3. Going to be fantastic, especially considering the fact that Bryle was actually in danger there. Without Tomato's presence, I think he just straight up could have gotten picked off. So it is a nice little turnaround play from Undying, sort of stopping the bleeding a little bit here as they lift up that net worth lead just that little bit more. Back up to about 3k for them in the aftermath of that play. But now Tomato.
And up until, yeah, they got him with the cleave. He's out of mana.
That's a problem. He has nowhere to go, no mana to blink, no really anything to defend himself. He's just dead.
And that's the biggest kill on the map, while Bryle is still being this aching pain in your side, getting this bottom wave all the way in consistently. And Saberlight is here, so this tower will probably fall down. You do have to be very happy with yourself, especially now that the Roche is alive for the second time. I don't think without Tomato, they really want to stage a defense here. As soon as they see that this bottom Rax is getting hit, though, oh, they're not able to make the decision, though. They should just be hitting this, but they're a little bit afraid of the turn.
They don't really realize that Roshan is being taken right now and that most of the opposing lineup is not available. Now they'll figure it out, obviously, but it's a little bit too late to make their move. So Annihilate's able to get the Aegis. The cheese goes into the hands of that Ancient Apparition. Did Annihilate take the shard as well? Yes, he did. So he's got that hairball.
And just barely, if he wasn't able... He has that Blink Dagger now, so he can be that catch hero. And Annihilate just running through, trying to force any of these heroes out of here. Meanwhile, Boris, he has that basher. You have to be so careful when you initiate now, just because Boris is going to keep you there. It feels like this Wraith King has just been built up perfectly.
Every single time we see a big item on the side of Undying, yeah, it feels like the Wraith King is itemizing in the exact way he needs to counter it out. It started with the MKB. We see the Skull Basher up now. Even this Blink Dagger coming out sort of in the perfect scenario to kind of ruin what Undying are trying to put together. So the Wraith King is absolutely fantastic right now as Moon Meander. He's going to be forced to pop the ult just to get away from this one. But he gets him away, so...
Yo, they're here on your high ground. You have Glyph and you're in the side lanes already, but Tomato is still respawning. He's not out on the map. They might be able to get a little bit of split push done with this Tiny, but now Jubei set up in the bottom lane.
Glyph will be popped on the Simply Tubase side. There goes Flea jumping in onto Bryle. Where's the follow-up right now? Okay, there it is. They get the stun into the Ice Blast. Saberlight, meanwhile, on the other side is in a little bit of trouble. He's going to be run down by Monkeys. This is so much fighting across the map. Ryle is still in danger down bot. The BKB was activated, but he's not actually going for the blink.
Oh, he's just dead to supports.
Oh, no blink, no TP. He just sits there and waits.
This is awful for Undying.
How is this possible? We have a push mid. We have fights in both the top and the bottom lane, and somehow Undying lost in every single fight. Saberlight dead top, Bryle dead bot, tier 3 and the full lane of Rax taken mid, and TOOBASED just clean sweep it.
It's just perfect play from, honestly, Boris and Flea. Flea sets up bottom. Jubei was there initially. They don't show their heroes up until it's too late. The BKB comes out just a little bit too late. He could have BKB TP'd. He could have been absolutely fine, but he felt like he needed to get something done. He stays for the ranged Rax. And this all honestly starts off with that one pick on Tomato top that, again, was led in there from Flea, where you don't have this anti-mage able to get that pressure out on the map. And
speaking of Flea,
I think you're fine here, but still, you're just continuously running at them.
Ooh, okay. They want to be more than fine. They want the kill. Tomato, though, stunned up by the Carapace. They are still going to be able to track this one down. Flea should be dying here, but you did have to eventually throw out the Mana Void for that one, so that's going to feel a little bit bad. It's more complicated than they wanted it to be initially, but a kill is a kill. That's going to count for something. Meanwhile, the Gyro trying to push up the creep wave to that tier 3 top, and they do get maybe a little bit of damage, but the Monkeys was able to TP back in time to defend it. So TOOBASED, this has been absolutely stellar for them. There has not been a single instance in which they've really allowed this split push to take them by surprise. Obviously, they did lose that range racks down bot, but they forced Braille to suicide for it. So anytime Undying try to make this play, they are losing quite a bit in terms of lives and resources to make very little headway in terms of bringing any of those objectives down.
And really, now AC almost going to be finished up on Boris. He has the Hyperstone. It feels like now the stakes are so high for Undying. If you do lose your heroes in sort of these split push situations, it's going to cost you more and more. Even before, you really weren't able to kill this Bristleback. Now that he has that Lotus Orb, he's sort of gotten away from that vessel time that Moon had oh so long ago. And Bryle, at the same time, his KDA has not changed. It's only worsened. He's died twice. He really hasn't been able to find those picks. And now, maybe on Monkeys, if he stays one more wave,
Monkeys is going to get hit up.
Oh, the splitter, the shard.
Bryle, yeah, he's just got to leave. That's really all he can do here. The Moonlight Shadow will be deployed, so clutch shard pickup. As oh, is he going in? Yes, he is. He goes for the stun. They're actually going to go in onto Dubu instead, as that is the far easier kill. So they're able to lock down the gyrocopter. That does buy enough time for the other cores to fall back. Although Bryle, he hasn't left yet. This could get a little bit scary for him, but it doesn't look like TOOBASED realized he's here, so he's going to try and sneak his way in. Oh, okay. No more sneaking. Jubei hits him up with a sentry. It is going to cost him his own life, but now maybe Monkeys can grab him? Oh god, the cold feet.
He still has BKB TP, but I don't think there's enough chain. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He's out.
And meanwhile, bottom, Boris, he has the shard, but they did make a play here.
Alright. Reincarnation, bringing him back up. Can he get back in time? He's actually kind of looking like he wants to try and turn. And yeah, he is going to be able to hold his ground. So, Undying forced to fall back. Oh, that was a nice play. They burn through the Reincarnation. They get everybody out. As you mentioned, that sort of dive bomb play in from the Beastmaster sort of allows them that extra time to sort of make their retreat, as we do see the Aegis now timing out on that Bristleback.
Yeah, Aegis reclaimed. It looks like Flea as well. Having that gem now, he is going to try and get as much vision down, make sure that the split push play isn't possible, but it does feel incredibly difficult for TOOBASED to get out on the map. Tomato has hit that breaking point. He's going for the shard now. He's going to have that 4-second blink. He almost has 25, and that's where there's definitely is a situation where Undying can sort of just outclass you.
Boris.
Well, Boris might lose the Reincarnation again here.
Okay, able to blink himself away for now, but the homing missile is still going to connect. Now Tomato in onto the back line, taking down Flea first. The gem will hit the deck, and Tomato, he's trying to go to work here, but he's actually going to get stunned up himself. Manta, though, will get him out of it. He's able to blink himself away, but now his teammates need to sort of pick up the slack. Saberlight coming in, dropping the roar down onto the Wraith King. Still haven't gotten through that first ult yet, so the Reincarnation has yet to be used, and it looks like this one is really just going to break up. Dubu TP's away. The rest of the lineup is sort of going to just relocate on foot. So everybody is out of there. That's just going to be the one death onto Flea at the end of all of that. But Tomato sees his target, right? He goes in, he takes down the Nyx Assassin, realizes he doesn't really want to deal with the sort of continued stun from that Nyx. And while he does get into a little bit of trouble there on the back end trying to get away, the Manta eventually gives him that moment he needs to blink out. And now the shard is online. So blinks on an even shorter cooldown, but Boris, he's tracking, but not going to be able to actually go for the kill just yet.
And that's something they constantly need to be a little bit cautious of when they get the initiation on in Monkeys.
Monkeys
he's just dead here.
He's got nowhere to go. The BKB was still on cooldown. Tomato just hits him up, slows him down, burns away the mana, and no way for the Lesh to defend himself. That was just straight up horrible for him in terms of that positioning.
And it feels like you're going to get a little bit scared on the TOOBASED side. You can't afford to really give up any more of these fights, as it seems like the split push is finally paying off. Even though they got that mid-racks, it just continues to be an issue. And they're making
Tomato.
A big attempt. Tomato.
They've got him. They hit him up with the Ice Blast into the Cold Feet proc. He's dead. Tomato will go down, and now, yeah, that's the cue to leave. Everyone else from Undying, just bail out now. Saberlight TPs himself away. Dubu's going to be able to just sort of walk himself out of that, but a little bit too much there for Tomato. Slightly overconfident in terms of his own durability. No BKB to really sort of guarantee that he could get those hits in, and that one is going to feel pretty bad. He's actually dead for 80. He doesn't have enough money for buyback, so he is on the sidelines for quite some time off of a slightly greedy play.
And that's something you have to be cautious of. They don't have really those save heroes. You have that Yule Scepter on Moon. You have maybe the tossback play, but you aren't able to stand up there with your other core heroes. Saberlight tried to BKB and be there with his teammate, but if you get that Ice Blast down, there really is no saving this anti-mage yet. He has the BKB queued up, but up until that point, he can't do plays like that. He felt like maybe they weren't set up enough. Maybe he could still do this split push, but unless he has an Aegis or that BKB, he really just dies. And every single death that Tomato has, he only has 3 of them, but that's when TOOBASED can finally get out on the map. If they can kill him once more on their side of the map, maybe, this is going to be big for TOOBASED. They're going to maybe be able to get a few more buildings here. And while Megas, I don't think really matter for the Undying side, it's just all of the free space in the world for your cores to catch up.
That is an Abyssal up on Annihilate as well, in addition to the Horn here. So he's got over 4,000 HP on this Bristleback. He's sitting on a Lotus and a Shroud. So really at this point, how exactly are you going to be able to take him down in any sort of reasonable time frame? It may just be a matter where they're going to have to try to ignore him, but he's got both the Scepter and the Shard. So if you ignore him, he's going to push into the middle of all your heroes and start dishing out that damage. So Annihilate's perfectly positioned here to just demand attention in these fights. Is down bot. Yeah, we do see Boris jumping in. They're going to take down
perfect.
Oh, man. They take down the Gyro first. They got Saberlight as well. He tries for the TP now.
Needs the bash, the Abyssal.
There it is.
Nice.
Abyssal Blade stun comes through. Beastmaster taken down. So they take Roshan. They get Aegis. They get Cheese. They get a Refresher Shard. And they find 2 kills in the bottom lane. As Undying at this point, it just feels like they're laying out a little bit too hard here to try and get that bottom lane of Rax. And the problem is, even if they get it, it's not a massive sort of favorable situation. Sure, the bottom lane is going to continuously sort of push out in your favor if you have those super creeps, but that's not the level of map control that's really going to sort of make a difference. So the fact that they keep on trying to get in there and keep on sort of falling short, it feels at a certain point like they might want to sort of shift their attention elsewhere. They keep on taking those risks, and none of them are paying off so far.
In TOOBASED, they're just very confident every single time that Roshan's up. They have the vision around there. They have Glyph. They know that the split push play really isn't going to work out, and they're ping Tomato again.
Tomato.
If he dies right now, oh, whoa.
Ooh.
What
okay, well, he's still stunned up. This could be a problem. He is going to get locked down. Nice play from Bryle. Saving his teammate, quite literally tossing him away from the danger. And Flea was actually forced to use the cheese there as well. So not only do they save Tomato, they burn through a little bit of those resources on their opponent's side. So Bryle, really just perfect play. Saves his teammate, resets inside the base, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if they can hold this. Annihilate's just going to lead the charge. As we said, he is very, very tanky. I think he just, yeah, he did. He reflected that homing missile as well. So Dubu going to have to sort of fall. Nope, never mind. Moonmeander takes it down instead. So no missile coming through, but Annihilate continues to lay the hits in onto this tier 3 tower. And Tomato right now is not in the base. He's going for the split push up top. We are going to see Boris, though, make his way in here to try and stop it. He won't arrive in time, but Tomato's now been forced back, and TOOBASED, do they go back in on the bottom lane? They know Tomato still hasn't TP back yet. A Saberlight, that might have been a little preemptive there with the BKB.
And Boris just really smart. He's not showing because he knows as soon as he shows, Undying are immediately going to jump onto you. They still tested, showed that the Wraith King was or could be anywhere ready to jump in at you. So just really smart plays while Flea was trying to find Tomato. But Tomato, again, sort of a master of the hero. He's been playing in between. They do have a little bit of vision to sort of scout him jumping over to their side of the map. But you get more damage. You weren't able to hit the racks at all with that Bristleback, but you have to be incredibly scared. Again, if you lose Tomato, it feels like the game will very steadily come to a close for the Undying side, but at least he does have buyback.
And now he's got a BKB as well, as they're going to look to jump in onto Dubu. Annihilate, he just doesn't care. He well and truly did not care about that, but now he may want to care about that. Yep, the break comes through. Bryle in with the play there. But the Aegis is going to get him back up. Good stun in from Flea. The Roar, though, will still be deployed, so Annihilate still in a little bit of trouble here, but now the reinforcements arrive. Boris coming in, but the Mana Void will be there. Jubei, however, throwing in that Ice Blast. Is that going to be enough? They've taken Dubu down. Boris did get his ult popped, but he's back up with the Reincarnation. So TOOBASED, they lose the Aegis, they lose the ult on the Wraith King, but outside of that, it's only Monkeys who goes down, and they are starting to force out some buybacks on the other side. We've already seen one out from the Mirana. Dubu used his as well before dying a second time, so Undying have to be careful. They are running out of resources, but as you said, Tomato is going to be the sort of killer for this squad. As long as he is alive, they're still going to have hope for something, but they've got to be very careful about how they approach this one. The gyro is not coming back up for this fight, but Bryle, he wants it onto Annihilate. Can he get the break? Yes, he can. The Horn, though, is going to sort of eat through a lot of that duration. So Annihilate's able to fall back, keep himself safe for the time being as his teammates will regroup in the west side jungle. Tomato, though, got to be careful. Flea misses with the stun. So it looks like Tomato's okay for the time being. His BKB's back up in a few seconds as well. So I don't know if there's really a window any longer for TOOBASED, but they're still not backing off.
And they're going to try and find the play on whoever pushes out the bottom lane. If anything, if they break on this mid wave, it would be pretty intense. But with the creep wave already in there, they've got all the vision in the world. They're giving up a little bit of that triangle control, but they have to respond to this Rax. Nobody on the Undying side is set up. The smoke has really displaced them.
It's okay. Not going down just yet. Smart glyph coming out. Tomato, though. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Tomato, he gets stunned up. He's going to hit by the Ice Blast. He might just be dead. BKB doesn't get popped. He's gone, and there's no buyback. He doesn't have the money for it. This is an absolute disaster. Saberlight is dead as well. What do they do? Saberlight will buy back, but it's going to be him and Bryle. They don't have that primary damage dealer in Tomato, and you still got to deal with Annihilate and Boris, who has 2 lives up again. As that reincarnation. Oh, Flea, come on. That's just not fair. Hit him up with the 2-man stun. Moon Meander dead. Saberlight gone as well. It's over. There is nothing more that they can do here. When do they call it at this point? Bryle, he's going to give it a go, but Spike Carapace stuns him up. Split Earth comes through as well, and he's gone. GG will be thrown out there, and that's it. Simply TOOBASED able to draw this one 1-1.
This is the win they needed. This is exactly what they needed to get out of today. Toppling, again, the best team probably in this tournament, taking it 1-1. Just a fantastic performance from everybody on the side of TOOBASED. Even Jubei, who isn't on that sort of key playmaking hero, he was constantly finding Saberlight in the trees, keeping that split push game sort of hampered down. In Undying, they were trying to be successful in the side lanes. It felt like in that mid game, they were really crawling their way to an eventuality that TOOBASED couldn't handle. Boris, eventually you just can't fight that anti-mage, but they found the stuns. They found the plays. Flea playing out of his goddamn mind, found so many really key stuns and disables that really just spelt disaster for Undying. And you can't really account for those individual performances that really just put them over the top, as well as Boris's itemization just absolutely perfect. Every single item he needed was so impactful. Getting that 16-17 minute blink dagger really just caught Undying off guard, and all of the plays that they were making just ended up not mattering. It's just simply TOOBASED, my friend.
TOOBASED indeed. That's simply TOOBASED at the height of their power. This is what they're capable of. So absolutely incredible. Flea leads all players, 22 assists there, every single one of them very, very well earned. And for Tomato, you were sort of pointing it out, it's 4 deaths now instead of 3, which is where it was where it was sort of previously before that final death. Every single death that Tomato had, though, was just backbreaking for Undying. Anytime he went down, the entirety of Undying's game plan just sort of ground to an absolute halt. So absolutely big from TOOBASED. They don't really pressure up the AM continuously, but they get the kills when they need it most, and they get themselves a win on the board. So they have themselves a 1-1 draw here in their first series of the day, but we're not done with TOOBASED just yet. They will be in action once again. They're facing off against yet another of their regional rivals, as they will face off against D2 Hustlers in our second series of the day. So that one is going to be coming up in just a little bit. We're already starting to try and wrangle the teams together here to get them ready for it. So we will be bringing you the start of that next series, hopefully in just a couple of minutes. So sit tight, and we'll be getting Simply TOOBASED versus D2 Hustlers coming your way as quickly as possible.